One of the policy during Tun Dr. Mahathir Premiership is Loot East policy. Mahathir stated to establish the policy on 8 February 1982. This policy is meant to the government to make the research to any example and good attitude for Japan and Korea. To apply it in Malaysia to change the situation in Malaysia. This policy is also to decrease dependence and less favorable to Britain. The objective of this policy is to increase the management and development in this country, and also to make sure that Malaysia has a good attitude and positive. The employee and the student also has been sent to the Japan and Korea to learn about the technical and management aspect in the both country. One of the success is Malaysia has owned its brand car, Proton. The second is United Nations. Malaysia, led by Dr. Mahathir, rejected the composition of the United Nations Security Council and the veto power of permanent members. Permanent members of the United Nations Security Council are China, the United States, France, the United Kingdom, and Russia. Among the reasons why Malaysia opposed this composition, it is because it is if one of the member continue to use their veto power, continues to use their veto power, all the decisions that have been discussed will be rejected immediately. Next, support the United Nations in general. This is because Malaysia wants to highlight the right of United Nations, where the voices of a small country can be heard. Also, Malaysia is a generous peace provider for United Nations mission. For example, Malaysia has sent peacekeeper to Bosnia, Libya, last is Somalia. In October 1993, Tun Dr. Mahathir sent Malaysia a soldier to participate in United Nations peacekeeping operation to organize measures and help newly independent Europeans. Since then, the country has established the relation with Malaysia, and Malaysia has recognized Bosnia as an independent country. Finally, Malaysia also against apartheid in South Africa. Malaysia is the one of the country that strongly oppose apartheid policy in South Africa because the system had been used denies many basic rights to non-white people, especially black, in living in South Africa. Therefore, Malaysia can establish a good relation with South Africa. The last is Malaysia involvement in ASEAN. To enhance economic integration, Malaysia use APEC to encourage business and trade activities in the free trade area of Asia Pacific. In this way, they can sustain and control economic growth in the region and the world. This is also one of the measures to reduce restriction and to regulate the trade in goods. Besides, by joining the EAEG, we call East Asia Economic Group, the EAEG plan is also good way to forge closer ties with the Northeast Asian region. This is also of the offset to United States influence in APEC. The objective of EAEG is to focus on subjects such as food, energy, security, financial cooperation, trade facilitation, disaster management, and rural development others. The most popular economic policy introduced by Tun Dr. Mahathir is Vision 2020, or we call Wawasan 2020. It was announced as the new economic policy and EP was coming to end after 20 years. Vision 2020 was developed to be a long-term goal for the nation. The goal of Malaysia becoming a fully developed country by year 2020. The main goal of the Vision 2020 are to modernize and develop our country based on its own model and develop that nation economically, politically, socially, spiritually, psychologically, and culturally. To fulfill the purpose of Vision 2020, 9 challenges was listed. The first one is establish a united Malaysian nation with a sense of common and shared destiny. Second is creating a psychologically liberated, secure, and developing Malaysia society. Fifth, faith and confidence in itself, justifiably proud of what it is, of what it has accomplished, and robust enough to face all the manner of adversity. Third is fostering a mature democratic society practicing a form of consensual, community-oriented Malaysia democracy that can be a model for many developing countries. The fourth is establish a fully moral and ethical society whose citizens are strong in religious and spiritual values and imbued with the highest of ethical standards. The next is establish a mature, liberal and tolerant society in which Malaysia of colours and creeds are free to practice and profess their customs, culture and religious religious belief, and yet feel a sense of belonging to the nation. The sixth is establishment of scientific and progressive society, a society that is innovative and forward-looking, one that is not only a customer of technology, but also a contributor to the scientific and technological civilization of the future. Next is nurturing a fully caring society and a caring culture. A social system is which society will come because safe, in which the welfare of the people will revolve not around the state or the individual but around the strong and resilient family system. The eighth is ensuring an economically just society in which there is a full partnership in economic progress. Then the last one is the establishing a prosperous society with an economy that is a fully competitive, dynamic, robust and resilient. Other economic policy is a privatized policy. The deteriorating economic situation was one of the factors that led to the introduction of the privatization policy in 1983. The concept of privatization is contrary to the concept of the nationalization, which is the process of increasing ownership and control by the government in the economy. So privatization refers to the chain of privatized government-owned agencies and companies. This policy was introduced to increase the efficiency of government agencies and companies. The objective of privatized relieve financial burden of government, reduce the size and involvement of the public sector in the economy, and reaching the country economic policy goals. Although the objective was privatization is not to get the revenue, but this program has contributed a lot of income to the government due to tax collection. Every profitable private is required to pay most losses and burden. This means the government does not lose income, and even if there is a business transfer due to the privatization process. This policy also enables Malaysians to acquire a new technology and advertise through joint participation with a foreign equality holder, management contract and or the provision of consulting service. Furthermore, this move enables Malaysia to automatically operate and manage a new technologies in certain fields while increasing efficiency and productivity. Tun Dr. Mahathir during his premiership, he is not only introduced a new policy, but he also made some changes in the workplace behavior that changed the landscape of work and style of Malaysian. Among the innovation he made was to introduce a punch card system. This system was introduced shortly after Tun Dr. Mahathir took office as a Prime Minister in 1981. The guideline was designed by Mampu, which is requiring a civil servant to clock in by 8 a.m. until 4:50 p.m. Indirectly, it describes a more systematic movement. Therefore, productivity can be maintained. This system was imposed to improve work attendance, efficiency, and effectiveness within the public service. Apart the punch card system, Tun Dr. Mahathir also launched a program named the Tech Program. Part for the every employee in the government sector is required to wear a name tags to make it easier for customer to deal with employees in the government sector. Besides, this name tagging also made it easier for superior to identify the corrupt officer and aim at gaining civil servant report. Another reform made by the Tun Dr. Mahathir is quantity control circle. It is to encourage lower level employees to analyze problems and recommend solutions to the management. It also contributes to higher productivity as employees know how to improve the operation. Thus, all agencies are encouraged to adopt this program. Last but not least, Tun Dr. Mahathir was also introduced manual procedure work. It was launched on April 6, April 1983. Among the goals of its implementation is to serve as a reference on procedures and regulation, and also help to avoid mistake and shortcoming. All agencies are required to prepare work procedure manuals and assign one officer as a coordinator. The program has been very successful, and it increased the efficiency in the public service.